Thank you for choosing to rise with sunrise. We cannot do this without you, and we're always happy to have you here with us. Welcome. If you're looking for a dose of good vibes and real talk about community, culture, and making a difference, you're in the right place. Because right now we have a creative force in the music industry and a passionate advocate for cultural preservation, healing, from working with some of Jamaica's biggest musical names to facilitating life-changing community spaces. Our guest is all about transformation and walking in purpose. Special events, content producer, and well-being facilitator, Kareece Lawrence. Joined us to tell us her story.
Good morning, Kareece.
Good morning,
Kareece. The intro that made me nervous. It sounds big. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning.
It's great to have you. You know what's interesting is I look at you and I think about the wellness stuff. I think about your sea moss gel that I just wrapped up out of my fridge. I think about how you operate on a holistic level. But what I do know is that you also bring that same type of detail and the care for doing what is right and the care for doing what is good to the creative space as well. Let us talk a bit about your contribution to the creative space for the last 17 years.
Okay, with 17 and
right? She worked from Shiba on child labor.
Straight into it. Yeah, the time has really flown. And I'm just thinking on, the many different hats throughout the journey. Even my working in the creative industries, I didn't see it coming. I went to Campion, say, everybody a doctor, lawyer, teacher, that kind of thing. But you're like, I don't know if that's me. And then I remember, university time, everybody thought I was going to be a lawyer because I'm always about justice. And then I think I ended up saying, let me try something new. Let me apply for banking and finance, just picking something that would put me out of my comfort zone. And then that journey just had me deciding to go and work at a bank while I'm going to university. And it's actually an unfortunate situation that I had with a bank around justice, how I ended up in the creative industry. So even that has been set by the Most High. Like, there was a young lady working at the institution where I was, and she had locks, and somebody was going to give her a problem. And when I heard I had locks, and so I went to the general manager, and I'm like, well, you have a problem with me as well, you know? And that's where it went. It was a serious thing, and we ended up going the legal route and everything. But I know that there was a day when I went into work, and they were asking me to change my hair, and I'm like, I can't change my hair, it's my identity. And it is not taken away from my work or anything like that. Anyhow, when we were going through the motion of getting to where they are now you can wear locks. So what I advocated for was successful, in the end. But I remember one day I went to work and they said, well, you're not conforming, so you're on suspension indefinitely. And this time I had a friend, still a very good friend of mine, Julia Braham. She's a music video director. Julia said, Kareece, you're going to come and start working with me tomorrow as a producer, and you're going to find out that you can earn more, dress comfortably, be yourself. That's how I got in the creative industry. So I was a video producer at first, and then one job just led to another. I was fortunate to work on the Cricket World Cup, big event that we had in Jamaica.
It was 07 as well.
Exactly, so 07, and I was working with the big guns, Brian St. Just, Delano Forbes, Martin Lewis. And then through that, I met Jerome Hamilton, who runs Headline Entertainment with Carlet. When that project was done, he's like, you're going to need to come and work for me, So, I went and did that interview. That's how I got in bookings and had the fortunate situation to be booking agent for Sean Paul. Sean Paul is a gem that I don't know if many Jamaicans really overstand. The human that is like, he's Rasta more than many people who said they're Rasta. Just in his consciousness, really loving the Most High, loving family, loving earth, just move in a particular way. I learned a lot from him too. Very loyal, wants to bring his team and carry everybody with him. And to this day, if I have a social impact project and I call, Sean Paul is one of the first ones to say yes, Up to 2 years ago, we had a program, and when I reached out, it was like, yes, so him having proper team, so you have to go through the channels, but everybody was there supporting his PR rep, his management, and culture just so important. That's what really lets us know what's going on in the world, whether we like it or not. It reflects the good, the bad, the ugly. So when you are in the creative industries, if you ask me, what is beautiful about it is that you can play your part in impacting change, and that's what I've always done.
I mean, and you have elucidated, obviously, your passion for culture. You push against the grain that is you, and you exuded that you expressed yourself a while ago. But I want to know how, given all your experiences, the variety of experiences, potpourri of experiences, how you stay motivated to continue to be Kareece?
That's a very good question. I believe each soul incarnates with a particular persona, and I am trusting that the persona that I got is what equipped me, you know, for this time that I'm here in, and for me to live in my purpose. And purpose has always been something that's very important to me. I remember from a little girl, I'm always asking questions. Where do you go after you die? What's this whole thing about God, you know? So I've always been on a spiritual journey and always felt like the path that I was in, you know, through my family with Christianity, it never felt like it. And so I was just always journeying until I found something that reflected me, right? And that's how I got connected to Rastafari, because I'm always about just taking care of the earth, you know, living good, living in upfulness, eating a particular way, being healthy and all of that. So I think my answer is just that I have always been somebody who is very clear on who I am, and also being open to who that am is in an evolving way. So I'm not a stickler to anything. So if I hold this to be a truth and then I find out another truth, I'm the one, you know, my friends will tell you, I go say, you know, I used to say XYZ, but no, it's ABC, so it's ABC, me then, all right? So, yeah, I think it's just that. It's just an awareness that I can play a part in shifting this space that I'm in. So any space that I'm in, I'm going to bring my CMOS gel, you know, I'm going to bring and say, all right, we need for exercise, we need to do some yoga, we need to spend some time in nature. Like, nature is so important to all of us and our well-being, you know, to balance being indoors, you have to be outdoors. So I think it's what they might call a calling or a purpose. That's what really motivates me.
Very quickly before we wrap, let me just ask, because you mentioned a while ago the ability to adapt and evolve and adjust and changes in perspective, and obviously we are a living, breathing energy, so we're going to evolve and change, right? My question is, very quickly, culture changes, norms change, practices change. How do we continue to evolve our culture and support the next generation without trying to stifle what happens organically?
That is a beautiful question, because even within the Rastafari community, I've had so many different interactions. As you know, there are some very traditional, you know, parts to it, like the woman is not supposed to play the drum, and the woman is to dress a certain way, act a certain way, and, you know, work in certain fields or not work. And there are all of these philosophies and traditions that come with it, but I'm always somebody who is about evolution. So I love this question, Yende, because for my part, I think who I am here for is the youth, you know, and how to impact them. So if you're walking around acting too holy or too, you know, you're up there, you're not connected to the ground, they're not going to find any resonance at all. So I am always an advocate for being yourself, you know, whilst you have any tradition, take the parts of the institution and the culture and the spiritual, or, you know, all those aspects. You take the parts that fit you and also be very open to work with what works for you as well. So as Rastafari, my practice includes some amount of yoga, you know, which that is from the Indian philosophy. It has some tenets of Buddhism, you know. It has some tenets of shamanism, you know. So I think we have to allow culture to hold on to the tradition that is resonant and give it its space to evolve so that it is relevant to the times.
A word. A massive thank you to Kareece for joining us this morning.